Hello, and welcome to the fourth and final episode in CareConnections. This is a 4-part podcast series where we have real talk on rare conditions. At Sanofi Genzyme, we have been committed to the rare disease community for over 35 years. I'm your host, Abby, part of our CareConnect PSS Patient Education Liaison team. We've had the pleasure of hearing from Tony, who is living with a rare disease, his wife Audrey, and their son Avery, as well as Dr. Kishnani, who has shared her expert advice. For our final episode, I'm delighted to welcome back Tony and Audrey to talk about what lies ahead, looking to their future as a patient and as a partner together as his wife. So Tony, as someone living with a rare disease, what are your current aspirations and goals?
Well, it's been a rebuilding process, and right now I'm focusing more on the future than I think I ever have. I would like to continue to manage this the best possible way. We're always learning, we're always evolving, and so our goal is really just to keep improving and live the best life we can live, and for me to get as much out of this life as I can, go back to work, begin a new career, and almost essentially start over. With a new diagnosis and with a rare disease, there's a lot of obstacles, and we're just navigating them.
Do you have any concerns about the future or anything that worries you?
At this point, no. In all honesty, for the first time in a long time, no, I do not. I feel like we have a grasp of what we're dealing with. I feel like we have a plan of attack, and I think it's important to stay positive and just stay calm and take life as it comes. So there's no point for me in worrying about what's to come. I know we'll handle it.
It feels that that's different for you to say than it may have been in the past.
Absolutely. That would not have been true if I said that in the past. I was constantly worried about the future. I was constantly worried about not being around for my children, for my wife. Milestones. Now I know I'm going to be here, and I just want to be the best me that I can be for those things. So I'm more excited for the future.
It's incredible. What advice would you give to others who may be concerned about what the future holds?
My advice would be to make the most of it. Understand that you can write the future. You can make it whatever you want to make it now. Now that you know, and now that you're starting a new journey, guide yourself on that journey and take your team with you. But understand that you're the guide, and you're going to be responsible for the good and the bad, and you got to embrace the good and the bad. You have to. So I would say look at it as a blank piece of paper. You can write your own story, and this is a chance to write your story.
It's incredibly inspirational, Tony, and I'm so glad you're having a chance to rewrite it differently. So Audrey, the same questions for you. As Tony's wife, what are your aspirations?
To hopefully just keep doing this better. I feel like we have a good handle on it now. And I think it's exciting to see where we're going to be, at the end of this year, at the end of next year. I'm really excited about, what's to come medically for Tony as the future progresses and we get better technology. I think probably just watching him grow as a human being into this new character that he's becoming is going to be exciting, and just evolving as a family and seeing where it takes us.
It is exciting. I like that outlook. Do you have any concerns about the future or anything that worries you?
No, not right now. Gosh, I would have a year ago. But I think Tony's desire to constantly evolve into this and his flexibility to learning it and changing and adapting to whatever we need to do, and seeing that our family can kind of fit the mold and that we're all willing to support each other in our weakest moments, it gives me a lot of hope. And I understand the greatest strength is our family. And Tony and I have a wonderful foundation. So I think moving forward, there's not anything to fear. I anticipate that there's going to be some challenges and some changes, but I don't think there's anything that we can't ever overcome.
We've had to look at the future and question it already. We've already had to accept, and we learned to accept that I wasn't going to be there. Now that I am, it's exciting for us. It's like we can see the future now. We can talk about what it's going to be like when the kids move out and when it's just us. And we can talk about what it's going to be like when they're in high school.
We got married knowing that I would retire alone, and eventually I would raise the kids by myself.
So you accept that. And then when that's not your reality anymore, then you get excited. You can mold your future. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to mold our future based on this new information.
A lot of times individuals speak about mourning the loss of something that they thought they were going to have. And it's almost like you're flipping that in a reverse a little bit, because now you're looking at something that you had already accepted was going to be gone. And now part of it is back in a different version, but something that you had already imagined and were anticipating managing in a different way, right? And so it's kind of a reality that you didn't see, but in a alternative perspective, right? There's a lot of adapting and changing and really looking at things differently. And I know it seems that you guys are really navigating that together.
And it's been tough. I mean, like I mentioned before, there's been times when I've had to be picked up. There's been times when Audrey's had to be picked up. But really, we're there to do it. And there's no question whether we're there to do it. And we're happy to be there to do it. We're happy that we can do it. So yeah, we have some hard times. It's not smooth sailing. It's not always just positivity, and we have hard times. But as long as you can regroup and say, I have a reason. We have a job to do here, and we need to live our life. We need to embrace this instead of kind of push it away, because initially I pushed it away. And to embrace it and say, okay, we know what we're looking at now. Let's work with that. And that's what we've learned to do.
So it sounds like you may have already answered this, but just I want to formally give you the chance to say if there's any advice you give to others who may be concerned about what the future holds when they're living with a rare disease.
I would say you have to define what's a meaningful life to you. What's meaningful to you might not be meaningful to everyone, but you have to decide what's meaningful to you. You need to write it down, say it out loud, and speak it and explain it to the people that are going to be along for the ride. And then if you have something like Pompeii, you have to figure out how to make that meaningful life a reality. That means making adjustments. But I think once you speak it and bring it into reality, it's so much easier to really look at it and see the different angles and figure out how you're going to get around it.
Part of what I've dealt with, and I'm sure other people have and will, is, like you said, mourning the loss, but you have to accept that things aren't going to be the way that you might have thought they were going to be, but that doesn't mean they're not going to be great. So I was hesitant to do a lot of things that I do now, such as a wheelchair, that make our life so much better. Initially, there may be a reluctance to be that person, or to not want to fit in that mold of someone that uses that, or someone that does things different or struggles to stand up. It's a difficult thing, but when you embrace it and you accept that that's who you are, and you know the people that love you will accept that's who you are, it really changes the way you look at life. I would say if you're concerned, just embrace it and embrace the changes and make them your own changes, make them your own. And if you do that, then you will have your own life and you're not having anyone else's life.
That's great. You guys have such wonderful and thoughtful answers. Rare diseases don't often get the spotlight that some chronic conditions get, but we're all committed to changing that little by little and raising awareness. So this podcast is one way that we're trying to do that. Why did you both decide to take part in this project and to help raise awareness about rare diseases, patients and their families, and the support that they need to try and lead a better life?
Because I wish someone would have spoken to it when I was diagnosed. We kind of just went blind. And I thought, if we can help someone in our situation, if I can help someone that's worried, that's scared, that's unknown, and if I could say, look, I hear you, and I know what you're going through, and I'm still going through it, but here's how I'm going through it. Here's what's happened, and here's how we're going through it as a family. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it'll give hope that it's not all bleak. It's not all grim. There's difficulties, but ultimately you can come through it. And if we can help with that, I would love to.
I feel like there's so much more to Pompeii than just the medical diagnosis and understanding the pathophysiology behind it. I mean, there's so much you can look up online, but as far as like actual support and how to manage it in your day-to-day life, I don't feel like there's anything really, aside from like your normal support system. So hopefully at some point, somebody will listen to this and maybe it'll speak to them and where they're at and be encouraging.
And see that you can be a spouse, you can be a father, you can be a mother, you can do those things and have a rare disease. You can do those things and still be that and be there for people. That you're not less of a person. You can still be a whole person for the people that love you. It doesn't immediately take away your opportunity to get married, to have children, to be a parent, to have a career. It doesn't strip you of that. You just have to refocus how you're going to do it. But it's very doable. And I think a lot of people would be quick to give up because you don't see people with rare diseases, first of all, but you definitely don't see them with families or with a spouse or with, it's very difficult. It's a difficult pill to swallow, but it's doable.
Sometimes, you don't know what they have, and putting a name with something and helping to raise awareness, but also not being defined by that it's just simply a part of who you are. And there's so many other parts that combine to make us these dynamic, powerful, really diverse individuals. And that's just simply just one aspect of a person.
And you can do whatever you want to do. Getting a rare disease is not a game ender, it's a game changer. So just go with the game change.
When did you decide that you wanted to become more involved in the community as a whole?
As soon as I was diagnosed, because there was so much unknown for us, because there was very limited resource, because it is rare. I figured if I could talk to anyone or help anyone, I would like to, just to say, you're not alone. You're not doing this by yourself. There's other people doing it, although there's not a lot of us. We're strong. So it's important that people see that, even if it's one connection for one night, it sticks. It always sticks, especially when you don't have a lot of connections. You don't have a lot of people that have what you have, or you don't have a lot of people going through what you go through. It's very meaningful. And I know that. So if I could do that, I would love to.
What do you recommend to listeners to become more involved in the rare disease community and to continue to raise awareness?
Speak with your healthcare providers and your whole team. There's needs everywhere. Everyone has a need. Find what the needs are, and if it's a need you can meet, you should, because you should help. If you can help, you should. So go in your community, talk to people in your community, and you'd be surprised who has a kind of connection to you. So just be open to conversation, be open to helping, and be open to sharing whatever knowledge you may have, and whatever hardships you've had, someone may be able to help you with that.
Do you have any thoughts, Audrey?
No, I agree fully with Tony. If you can help, if you can change somebody's life for the better, it's your responsibility to do that. And if you have done something and you've found a way that's made it work for you, or it's a meaningful progression, then I think you should share that too, because maybe you can help them overcome some obstacles. I'm really excited that Tony's so gung-ho to get out there and help and share his story and meet other people. And also, I think as somebody who might have a rare disease, when you get the opportunity to meet another person that has a similar rare disease, that's a connection that you might not make with another human being. Those are going to be shared life experiences. And you might just have that moment of, okay, this person gets my, for lack of a better word, my struggle. My wife hears my struggle, but this person lives it. So we're meeting on the same page.
Absolutely. Right. There's this unspoken bond that you get that is hard for someone else who will never, ever get me like that. So before we end, I'd like to ask you both, is there a message of hope that you'd like to give other patients or families who are managing a lysosomal storage disorder?
It's not the end. For us, it's been the beginning. It's a way to redefine your life, and you have to choose to make it work because you don't have another option. So make it meaningful and make it every day.
I would say that one of the biggest difficulties with getting diagnosed with something is feeling like you're not in control. So take the opportunity to take control. Take the opportunity to take control of your healthcare, of your body, of your mind. And instead of looking at it as something that is going to negatively change you, make it a positive. Although it is going to be difficult, accept that, but understand that putty in your hands, you can make it whatever you want to make it. And don't go in with the thought process of, this is going to own me. Go in with the thought process, you're going to own it. And it's just going to be a part of you, but you're still in control. You're always in control.
That's great. Well, thank you both so much. It's just been an incredible day, and I can't really express my gratitude and the gratitude on behalf of the team for both of you sharing all that you've been through. And we can't wait to catch up with you, hopefully, and see how things continue to progress. We appreciate it a lot. So thank you, Tony and Audrey, for sharing your words of wisdom and experiences throughout the Care Connection series. We've learned so much about your story, including what it's like to live with a rare disease, what it's like to be a caregiver, and how to have a successful relationship with your care team and your goals for the future. Hearing your story has been invaluable to Sanofi Genzyme, and we are sure your experiences will be relatable to others who are also living with or dealing with rare diseases. Remember, whether your needs are large or small, your CareConnect PSS team is here to provide the support you need. To learn more about the range of support offerings and to contact your CareConnect PSS team, call 800-745-4447, option 3, or visit www.careconnectpss.com.